1. Running a child care center can feel like juggling plates, keeping everything afloat while making sure your program remains strong, sustainable, and above all, accessible for families who need it the most. But in a world where funding is shrinking, families are looking for more options, and in a world where things are just really crazy right now, and sometimes state funded options might be the answer. And the pressure on childcare directors has never been higher. How do you ensure long-term stability of your program? In today's episode, we're diving into strategies for blending funds, building quality, and expanding access with our special guest, Khadijah Lewis-Khan. Whether you're running a small center or overseeing a larger program, Khadijah will share how diversifying revenue streams can protect your center during the good times and the tough times. So stay tuned to this episode. You won't want to miss it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. I'm your host, Erica, and today I am beyond excited to introduce a very dear friend of mine, a true leader in the early childhood education community, Khadijah Lewis-Khan. Khadijah is the owner and director of a 5-star early childhood program right here in Rhode Island, a program that has garnered immense respect, not just within our state, but beyond. She's been a key figure in the field. She is known for her innovative approach to program development, as well as her commitment to providing high-quality education and care for children and families. I've had the privilege to work along the side of Khadijah for several years on the RIAC board, and I can tell you her passion for empowering other early childhood educators is contagious. She has been a vital resource for so many early childhood educators in the community, including myself, always willing to share her knowledge and experiences with others. I am so thrilled to have her on our podcast today to dive into the important topic of blending funds, building quality, and expanding access to make sure that your program is resilient and sustainable. So, Khadijah, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you start, folks, a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background, your program, and the journey that you've been on.
Wow, what an introduction, Erica. Thank you so much.
Certainly very true.
I'm very happy that we've had a long-standing friendship and been in this journey for quality together for a long time. So I have been the director of Beautiful Beginnings Childcare Center for over 25 years, and we have had a long journey. We started in a shopping plaza with an open setting. We started with 8 children and just going around the neighborhood and trying to get people to have confidence in our program. And when we left that center after 4 years, we had 85 children in an open air setting. So you can imagine the noise and the issues with trying to provide quality when you don't have dedicated classroom space and things of that nature. But we always had a goal of having a quality program. We were trying to get NAEYC accredited at that time. And NAEYC did come out to our program and gave us a lot of great feedback on what we could do better. So when we got the chance, we purchased a building that we were able to do dedicated space, make dedicated classroom space, dedicated space for teachers, like staff lounges and a training room.
Yeah.
Also outdoor play area, and just enhance the quality through having a environment that was really built for the children and staff and families.
Yeah, your space is absolutely beautiful. When me and my daughter taught it, we just walked, like my jaw was on the floor most of the time. I was like, oh my God, like you built out everything that I wish I had at my center. And not just the structural part, the people part too, but we'll get to that. It just is a beautiful program. So congratulations on your success, and I know the hard work that goes behind it. Especially that open air part. I can really relate to that as we run a school age program, and our school age program is kind of open. I mean, it has some break up in the space, but it's pretty much an open floor concept. So yeah, there's definitely a big difference in between having that dedicated space. So when you first start running a childcare center, it might seem like 1 or 2 revenue sources will be enough to keep things running smoothly. But the truth is, especially in today's climate, that approach leaves you very vulnerable. And external changes like funding cuts or shifts in government policies, fluctuations in private pay, which we're all seeing that right now. Khadijah, can you kind of walk us through why it's so critical for childcare directors and owners to explore more than one or two revenue streams? Because I know most of us, we have two revenue streams. We might have private pay and CCAP, and that's it.
Mhm. I think from the beginning, so we are a nonprofit childcare center. So our goal was to provide the highest quality and keep it affordable. So in order to do that, you have to have diverse funding streams. We always started with CCAP, and then we had full pay families, of course, and then we wanted to make sure we provided healthy food for the children. So we added CACFP, the Child and Adult Food Care Program, which is sort of like the school lunch program, where we can get reimbursed for providing high quality, healthy meals. Then, when state pre K was in development, we saw that as a great opportunity for families who may not be working or have the traditional work hours, to be able to have the opportunity to have free care and it's high quality. We also have early Head Start on site, and that is another funding stream, as well as support for quality and extra support for families who need it the most. And yeah, every chance we get, if we find a high quality program that can enhance the services that we provide and afford more opportunities for families and diversify our funding, we take that opportunity. We've never been scared to get feedback from people. You have to kind of be okay with people being in your program, giving you assessments, giving you feedback, and always be on that like kind of quality journey, which I find that's very helpful. But you just have to be willing to be open and accept different feedback and use those funding sources to really enhance the quality for the whole program. You know, it might be a specific line of funding for a specific group of people, but in the end, when you incorporate developmentally appropriate practices and high quality standards across your program, each one helps your whole program overall.
Yeah, so did you feel that, and it sounds like this is what you're saying, but did you feel that by participating all of those different types of programs that kind of helped you elevate so that when you did apply for a higher level in the quality rating that you were it helped you during that process because you were already moving in that direction?
I think so, definitely. So each of those programs, so early Head Start is really for infants and toddlers, and then we have state pre-K for the 4s and now 3-year-olds. And we also have a lot of different partnerships that we work with in the community with Bradley Hospital and for mental health supports, and LISC, Local Initiative Support Corporation, for environmental improvements and things like that. But yes, all of those together, I think without all of those, we would have never been able to make it to our 5-star rating. And our teachers, honestly, are so, I mean,
Amazing.
they're inspirational. They're
They're
amazing.
amazing. They
Um,
are amazing. Yeah.
but they have the children's best interest at heart. So they want to do whatever they can to make sure that the children have the best experience and get what they need. So they're willing to get feedback and change practices, even if they've been in the field for 20 years or 25 years, 15 years. They still realize that there's always things that we can reflect on and do better with. So I think that's also the key.
Yeah, I feel like too when I came out to your program to do a workshop, like what I thought was really awesome about your program is the diversity that you had within your team. Um, it was just so obvious that it was so intentional in having male staff, older staff, younger staff, different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds. Like, you could see that, and I love too how you reached out to the senior grandparent program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. So we have had foster grandparents for probably the last maybe 16 years or so, through a partnership with Federal Hill House. But the foster grandparent program is actually an AmeriCorps program that re-engages seniors to engage in their community and give back. And so we have six grandparents, which I mean, that's only 55 and over,
Hmm.
but some of them are quite a bit older. But they work in the classroom and give extra love and support to the children there. And honestly, they're like one of the hearts of our program because we can
Yeah.
all use that grandparent love within our lives.
And it's funny because you're so sweet. You really, you focus so much on the children, but I bet too, just having that extra calmness in the classroom also helps support your teacher's mental health too, right? If a child is struggling in the classroom, that grandparent can go on over and give that child a little more attention that they deserve. It allows your teacher to stay on task with the other children. So I think just I know a lot of teachers that would really love to have an extra person in the room that can help in that way. But and it gives you additional staff in a way that makes it affordable to do so, right? Because we'd all love to add
Exactly.
a few extra staff, right? So I think too, just looking at that from a budget perspective, is another really smart, creative way that you've really stretched out your dollar while being intentional. I'm going to brag on you because it's true.
Thank
So,
you.
um, you talked really quickly about state funded pre-K, and as I talked to directors throughout the country, right? Because it's affecting some states much more heavily than it has in ours. But and then also, we're seeing many programs face federal funding cuts right now, struggling because parents are turning to these state funded pre Ks, leaving fewer private paying families. So, how can directors like prepare their programs to remain financially stable during both the lean and the prosperous times? Because they're really faced. And I think, too, you also said something really key on being willing to let other people in, AKA your business, to tell you how to run your business, what to do in your business. And I feel like maybe some folks struggled around that too. So you got some words of wisdom about just how they should view state funded pre K, and maybe some action steps that they, or pros and cons that they should think about.
Hmm. So state funded pre-K, I mean, I know it's different depending on what state you're in. In Rhode Island, it does bring one of the highest quality standards. And it is dedicated funding. So you're able to compensate your teachers at a higher level, and assistant teachers. You're able to get more resources and materials into your program. So when I saw that coming down the pipeline, I thought that it would be good. It would strengthen our overall program. What I would say is if you've been hesitant to engage with it with state pre-K in your program, maybe make an appointment and visit a center who is implementing it and kind of get some feedback and ideas. You need to be on the quality journey.
Mm,
So you don't have to necessarily be at the highest quality, but you have to show that, you've gotten people in to do environmental rating scales and that you're working on the things that you need to work on, or that your teachers are working on their credentialing. So you have to be on the path to quality so that you can meet those standards, but you don't have to necessarily be all the way there yet. State pre-K and that infrastructure will help you as well. But I really recommend it to all early childhood programs.
yeah, I think that's great advice too, because you and I have had many conversations about it because I wanted to do it. I am going to apply this year. But yeah, it's something that was like, oh, what does that look like? And then when I hear about, all the funding cuts and Department of Ed and all those things change, I'm like, oh my God, what will that look like? But seems like it's still going to be in place. So how do people even find the right funding sources? Because like that could feel like a maze. So what are some of the best ways that childcare owners can tap into those available funds, and maybe even grants or partnerships? Like you've done so much work with community resources. Like if somebody's new or just starting or hasn't really focused on that area much, even if they've been around a while? What are like, how do they start?
I would say look at your local, like, state resource and referral agency. So in our state, it's RIAC, Rhode Island Association for the Education of Young Children. They can a lot of times point you to resources in the state. If you're looking for help with your facilities, you might go here. If you're looking for, I mean, even within RIAC in our state, you can have people come in and do no stakes itters and eckers so that you can get feedback, so you know where you need to you know really invest your time for
Mm,
improvement. Um, I would also say your licensing agent, usually they do know a lot of things available in the state, and they've been
mm,
out to so many different programs and seen people implement different things. So make friends with your licensor and, ask for feedback and support. And usually they're always willing to, you're always willing to step up. In our state as well, we have a really good facilities agency, which is Local Initiative Support Corporation, and they can help sometimes technical assistance. Honestly, that was one of the biggest resources that they gave us when we were opening our new site. I was thinking, oh, maybe I could save money because it costs a lot of money to renovate, by putting the bathrooms together,
mm,
and having
mhm.
less plumbing throughout the building.
That's like
and
gold. That's like gold in
yeah,
our field, right? You walk in a building, that's the first thing you do when you're looking at a new location. How many toilets? How many sinks? Where's the plumbing? Yeah.
right. And plumbing's expensive, and
Oh God,
especially if you're
yes.
thinking about putting it in each classroom. So I said, okay, we can have some, bathrooms in this area and save a little bit of money. And
Hmm.
just the technical assistance of saying, okay, well, what does that mean to quality? What that mean for your ratios or supervision if one person has to leave the classroom to bring the kids to the bathroom, or if you're trying
Mm.
to potty train and they have to go down the hall. And so sometimes it's, the technical support and kind of a thought partner to just kind of help you think through things and weigh the pros and cons of investing a little more now might make a big difference down the line. Um,
Yeah, you said a lot of great things there, Khadijah. So yes, the technical support, because I've built out all of my programs that weren't turnkey, and I wish I had done that because I would have definitely done my plumbing and bathrooms differently. Also, I think not just, as we're talking about revenue streams coming in, but also finding ways to save yourself money on costly mistakes like that, or maybe not mistakes, but better ways to do it that are more affordable or save you money in the long run. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that your program is so sustainable is because you've really done the work up front and you said, how can I get the most of the money that I do have? What other areas can I find more money to come in? And I've left myself susceptible many times because like when the state crashed the new system that they put in 8 years ago, there was a point I was owed almost $80,000 between my three schools when CCAP went down, when Gina Raimondo had the new system going. And I had to like get money back from my bank to float the state. And I was like, oh, I'll never put myself in that situation again. And we were probably only like 30% CCAP. And it really had that much of a major effect. So, that can happen in any state. I mean, our state just got hacked, right? A few weeks ago. Luckily, our state did a great job in making sure we all got paid and everything stayed in place. So we didn't have, unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, that same reoccurrence that happened 8 years ago. They got the money to us and made sure that everybody's info was safe too. But that can happen in any state, anytime. Those are real things. And if you have a huge portion of your income coming in just from that one stream, and something goes down with that, you're in trouble. Yeah, you're in trouble.
yeah. Yeah.
So
I would say, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
Oh no, I would just say definitely being creative. Being creative is is a necessity in our field, and I feel like it's one of our strengths in early childhood education. We can do a lot with a little, and we can use our imagination.
Yeah.
But it's definitely necessary because the field is underfunded majorly, and we know that teacher compensation is a big issue. So you just have to get creative and find ways to
Yeah.
meet the needs of your children and families and staff with different sources of funding.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, Khadijah, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with the listeners?
That's a good question. You're such a good interviewer. You ask a lot of
Oh,
questions.
thank you. Thank you.
Trying to think. No, honestly, I think I'm like, how have we done this over the years? I think just being open. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to try something new. The old ways of doing things is not always the best way, and sometimes you just have to open yourself up to new ways, new partnerships, and that honestly has been the key to our success.
All right. Thank you. For those of you who are listening, if you're feeling inspired and ready to take your childcare center to the next level or just want to get unstuck out of the mud, we have just the opportunity for you. Join us at the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference right here in beautiful Rhode Island from May 2nd through the 4th. This is your chance to connect with like minded educators, refuel your brain and your spirit, build your toolbox with tools that you need to run a successful, sustainable program. You'll also get to collaborate with amazing early childhood leaders, just like Khadijah, who will be presenting on Saturday, talking about this topic. So if you want to learn more from Khadijah, make sure that you do not miss out. Come join us for 3 days of learning, growing, and empowerment as a future ECE leader. Make sure you get your tickets. The link will be below. And as always, remember, it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. That's all for now. Have a great day. Bye. You did so good, Khadijah.
Oh my gosh, you are such a natural. You're crazy.
It's
Oh my
so fun.
god,
It's so fun. So
this is
don't
your lane.
thank you.